my name is Kaylee, and once again, I'm doing a crazy reading challenge. I have challenged myself to read all of the Lord of the Rings in only 6 days. Can I do it? We will find out. So I have read the Lord of the Rings many times. I think I read it the first time. It was the summer after my freshman year of college. So I was 19 and I've reread it almost every year since then. So this is probably my 15th or 16th time rereading through Lord of the Rings. It has been a few years though since I reread it. It used to be I just reread it every year and it's one of my favorites and I just love diving back in. But it's been, I think, 3 years now since I actually sat down and reread it. So I'm definitely overdue for a reread. So before we dive in with this challenge, I want to reach back here to our Booktuber Shoutout book. And we're gonna shout out somebody randomly. Oh, I grabbed 2. Okay, well, I guess we're doing 2. They were like stuck together. All right, so we have Liene's Library and Lindsey's Little Library. They both have library in their title. That's so perfect. That works out so nicely. I will leave a link over in the description to their channels. Be sure to go over and subscribe to them. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you love Lord of the Rings like I do. And of course, go over and subscribe to me on Instagram and Twitter and follow me on Goodreads and all that stuff. So the reason why I decided to read the Lord of the Rings in 6 days is because technically the Lord of the Rings is 6 books. It's typically broken up into as a trilogy into 3 books, but each of those books is 2 books. So if we look at the table of contents, it says book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, etc., book 6, and then the appendices. And I have little sticky notes showing where each of the books are. So I added up the pages. Book 1 is only 192 pages. I feel like I can read that in 24 hours with no problem. Book 2 is 194 pages, Book 3 is 188 pages, Book 4, 137, Book 5, 154, and Book 6, 133. Well, then the appendices are 109 pages. I will probably read the appendices, but I will not be counting them towards the 6 days. So I might just like read the appendices some other day later on, but I'm only counting like the actual text of the book, you know what I'm saying, the actual story as my 6-day challenge. So I feel like this is definitely a doable goal, and I know that I can do it because I've actually done it before. The very first time that I read The Lord of the Rings, I was on summer vacation, sat down to read The Lord of the Rings for the first time. Somebody had recommended it to me, and I read the entire thing in 3 days. I mean, I basically did nothing except eat and sleep and read. I mean, I was reading like 8-9 hours a day, but it was such an immersive experience. And all the times that I've reread it, I've taken my time, and it takes me like a month to read it or something, you know, and I've gone really slowly. But I almost kind of just want to capture the excitement of that first time of reading it. And I just want to really read it quickly and just dive into everything. So I know that I can do it because I've done it in less time in the past, but of course that was when I was on vacation. Well, now it's like, well, I still have to go to work and I still have other commitments and events in my life. I still have daily life obligations. So we're gonna see if I can make this enough of a priority that I can actually get it done. So right now it's about 2 in the afternoon on day 1. I've already been reading a little bit this morning. I actually picked it up, read the first page of the prologue, and then went, oh wait, you know what? I need to take out the garbage. Oh wait, all these dishes are sitting here. I need to do the dishes. And then, oh, you know what? This bathroom is filthy. We need to clean this bathroom. Oh, I needed to put a load of laundry in. Oh my goodness, look at these floors. I need a vacuum. And I spent like 40 minutes this morning cleaning my house. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I just know that once I dive in, all those little things of the everyday are gonna fall by the wayside. Like those dishes are not gonna get done once I dive in. So I read that first book and I went, oh, let me just take care of some some life things, and then I'll be free to dive in. You know what I mean? So something was like holding me back. I read that first paragraph and I was just like, oh man, I can feel myself getting sucked in, and how am I ever going to get back out? I'm having to set myself a timer because I will not notice what time it is. I had to set myself a timer to remind myself of when my first students come in, so that I would like, stop reading, you have work, you have obligations. So this morning though, I did finally sit down and I read the prologue and the first few chapters. So I'm on page 56 right now. This is chapter 2, The Shadow of the Past. Within like the first 2 pages, I could just feel myself going, ah. The language is just so rich. It's like gently diving into this warm bath, and I could just feel my soul like relaxing into this lovely, rich language that Tolkien uses. There's something about his sentence structure that I don't know, that it just captures my mind, you know? Oh, it's so wonderful. So I have a very cool bookmark that I'm using. Where is it? Here it is. So a student years ago painted this for me. They wrote the date on the back, 2019. So it's this lovely compass. And it just reminds me of like the whole not all who wander are lost type of vibe. And so I don't even use this bookmark for anything else. I keep it in the Lord of the Rings. Like, this is my Lord of the Rings bookmark, you know? And so this is the one that I'm using. Yeah, so the sticky notes, let's talk about those. As I go through, I am going to be taking notes. So this is very much outside of my normal reader comfort zone. So I've got my little stickies on that front cover to remind me of certain things that I'm looking for. This is my floppy paperback. I don't know if you guys can see, but like the little plasticky part is coming off of the cover here. This is, you know, the beat up copy. I also have a paperback boxed set, a hardcover boxed set, and then I have a couple editions of The Hobbit. But this is kind of like the most beat up copy, and it's the one that I usually read from because I don't want to mess up the pretty ones. So I've decided that this is going to be the note-taking edition, where I'm going to go in with pencil and underline and write little things in the margins and everything. So I'm writing in anytime that food is mentioned, I'm writing in next to it food. And anytime that music is mentioned, I'm writing in next to it music. Anytime that light or dark or silence or trees or birds or flowers, the sea or the stars are mentioned, I'm just putting a little note. My plan is eventually to do some videos and just go through in detail what are all the times, every single time that stars are mentioned in Lord of the Rings. And then we can kind of analyze a little bit, like, is there some significance to that in the scene? Is it indicative of something? Is this imagery, you know, calling up some certain emotion or something? So taking all sorts of little notes as I read. I also have a note that lists all of the 10 leadership qualities from Crystal Hurd's book, The Leadership of CSLewis. I read her book and I was so inspired to look through the Chronicles of Narnia and see how CSLewis put those leadership qualities, or the lack of them, into his characters in the Chronicles of Narnia. And then I just found so many interesting things because I was looking for these 10 character traits, and it just made me think about these characters in such a different way. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna keep doing it. I'm just gonna keep my little list here, and I'm just gonna keep doing it now for characters in The Lord of the Rings. I just can't tell you guys how much that book really inspired me. Not only to look at, you know, C.S. Lewis and Tolkien's writing a little bit differently, and kind of analyzing characters a little bit differently, but also looking at my own life and just being inspired with my own leadership style. All right, so I still have 150 pages about to read, and I have 40 minutes until I have to leave for work. And so I'm gonna quit chatting with you guys. Why am I wasting time over here? I am gonna start reading and get in some good reading time before life beckons me out into reality again. Sometime tonight or tomorrow, I will be back with another update on how my reading is going. Hi, so it's about 4 o'clock on day 2, and I have just been reading. I'm about to leave for work in a few minutes, but I only work for, I think, 2.5 hours today, and then I'll be right back home reading some more. So last night, I got to about page 150 or so, and then it was 11 o'clock at night, and I was just so tired, and I was like, I just can't stay awake any longer. I've got to go to bed. So had a good night's sleep, woke up early this morning, got some more reading done this morning, just about made it to the end of book 1. I still had 30 pages left or something. I went to a yoga class this morning because I was just like, I've got to get out of this house. I'm gonna move my body and get some energy. So I went to yoga this morning and really enjoyed that. I feel like it just perked up my brain and gave me some energy. Came straight back home and had some lunch and just started diving in some more. Finally finished book 1, and now I've been reading all afternoon, and I'm up to page 300, so I still have 96 pages to go today. So you can see I've still got a little ways to go until I reach that second sticky note. But I should be home and still have a good 3 hours of reading, plenty of reading time this evening before my bedtime. I'm feeling pretty hopeful that I'll be able to finish book 2 today, and I feel like, okay, this is working. We're right on track. I am just enjoying this so much. I am just absolutely enchanted with this book every time that I read it. So of course, book 1 follows Frodo and his friends as they are traveling through the wilderness. They decide to leave the Shire, and they're trying to make it to Rivendell, but the Black Riders are after them. And book 1 ends when Frodo loses consciousness right after he has crossed the ford of the Brunnen. There are so many just wonderful, magical settings and so many great characters and everything in that first book. We get Barlaam Butterbur, the very loquacious innkeeper at Bree, and of course the wonderful, just wild Tom Bombadil and his beautiful wife Goldberry. The imagery surrounding Tom Bombadil is very interesting. I might have to do just a whole nother video about Tom Bombadil some other time. He is such a mystery. And of course there's a big battle at Weathertop. But before all of that, before all the adventures really begin, it's that first part of the book where it's just all the sweet, fun little doings around the Shire and the comforts of your own hearth fire and having supper with your friends, and of course the birthday party and all of that. All those things are what tug at your heartstrings and make you care about these characters and want them to succeed. So right from the beginning, I feel like it just grips your heart, and then off you go on this big adventure to protect the Shire. Similarly, book 2 begins where they're all safe and cozy in Rivendell. So again, we're presented with this very comforting, homey atmosphere, and then they have to leave. Then off they go to have more adventures. I've already gotten past the part where they have tried to go across the mountain of Caradhras, and it's too snowy, and they have been beaten back. And they have just now entered the mines of Moria. They just made it through the gates at page 302. So this evening I'm gonna go through Moria and come out on the other side and hopefully make it over to Lorien. And along the way, I've been writing all sorts of little notes along the side and finding all sorts of really interesting imagery. The words dark, cold, and silent always seem to go together. Whenever there's some sort of danger that is looming up, then it's always dark and cold and silent. But then when the danger is gone, it's the warmth of the fire and the light of the stars, and then it's all warmth and light and comforting food. It's really interesting to see how the pacing will go back and forth between danger and then there's lighter moments and comfort. So they go back and forth between having hope and then despairing, and then they're afraid and then they have courage. So lots of back and forth. It's just such a journey. It's an emotional journey as well as an outward journey. And now that the fellowship has been created, now that I'm to that point, I've been marking all the places where Legolas and Gimli have any sort of interaction, because I just can't wait for those two to really become friends. Right now, they're kind of looking at each other with a wary eye, like, I don't know about this dwarf guy. He's kind of weird, you know? And I just can't wait to see this friendship and this camaraderie between them begin to blossom later on through their shared experiences and everything. So I'm greatly looking forward to that. I'm already looking for the little seeds of friendship that are being planted in these early chapters with the two of them. I'm also looking out for any references to the ocean, to the sea. And I've found that most of the time so far, a lot of the references to the sea are actually references to trees. It talks about a sea of trees. So a lot of really great imagery and descriptions in there that call to mind other things to describe something else. There's just such rich, beautiful language in here, and oh my goodness, I'm just enjoying it so much. I'm frustrated with interruptions to my life where I have to put the book down and pull myself out of this world. All of a sudden I'll realize, oh man, I'm really hungry. We have to go down to the kitchen and get something to eat, and that's gonna take like 20 minutes to eat something, and I don't want to put it down. And now I'm frustrated because I have to go to work and teach a bunch of children. No, I love teaching, but yeah, I wish there were no interruptions and that I could just read all the time. So I will be back tomorrow to let you know if hopefully tonight I have been able to finish up book 2, and then we will dive on in to book 3 on day 3. So hopefully, I feel like if I fall behind even a little bit, like that'll just be it. Like if you fall behind, there's just no way you're gonna catch up. So I'm really trying to stay on track every day. So let's hope that we can stay on track tonight, and then I'll be back tomorrow. Good morning. It is quite early in the morning on Saturday morning, day 3. It's 7:30 a.m. So I got up super early and I was like really fast, shower and get dressed and get your makeup on and get breakfast and like do everything quick so you can start to read. Last night I did finish book 2, but I had to stay up almost until midnight to get through book 2. And that's 2 hours past my bedtime, y'all. I'm usually asleep by 10. I'm finding that I am consistently underestimating how long I think that it's going to take me to read a certain number of pages. So I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I got 50 pages left. I can definitely read that in 2 hours, and it takes me 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, I'm just reading really much more slowly than I normally would because I'm stopping to take little notes in the margins and everything. And then something reminds me of something else, and I'm flipping back to find that other spot and making little connections between things and stuff. So my reading pace is quite slow. And also, like, other things in life are taking more time than I think they will. Like, I'm sitting down to do a load of laundry and fold the laundry and put it away, and I think, oh, this will only take me 5 minutes. But folding a big load of laundry takes like 20 minutes. Oh, I think I just saw a bunny outside. A little rabbit just went past my window. How cute. Little Peter Rabbit out in my backyard. Anyway, what was I saying? Something. Oh, that everything takes more time than you think. Yeah. However, I am determined that however long it takes, we have got to get this read. I'm not going to fall behind because I know if I fall behind, I will just never catch up. But today is going to be difficult. Saturday is my busiest day. I have 12 students on Saturdays. I cram them in on the weekends because then they don't have school and I don't have to only teach in the evenings after school. So I have 4 students in the morning and a whole bunch more students in the afternoon. I have like an hour break for lunch, and then a 30-minute little break in the middle of the afternoon where I usually have a snack or something. But then also tonight is book club. Tonight I have my book club meeting with my friends, and I might just tell them, okay guys, I'm only here for an hour. We can't get all bogged down in the chit chat. I have got to get home and read. And if anybody would understand that, it would be my book club ladies. Like, that's what it's all about, is, you know, reading. But I don't want to be rude. I want to hang out with my friends. So we'll just see. We'll just see what happens with book club today. So I still have about an hour and 15 minutes to read before I have to start teaching. And then I do have my hour break for lunch when I can read, and that little 30-minute break in between when I can read. And then I have about an hour between when I finish teaching and when I go to book club. I'll have an hour to read then. And then after book club, sometime in the evening, then I'll be able to read. So I'm really, really hoping that we can make it through book 2. I mean, what did I say? Book 3. We're on book 3. This is day 3 now. Okay, it's early in the morning. I have not had my morning cup of tea yet, so I'm not quite awake. Book 3 is 188 pages. I think we can do that. I think we can do that just fine. Okay, I really enjoyed my reading last night because we made it through the Mines of Moria, and we were in Lothlorien, and we met the beautiful Galadriel, and Frodo and Sam looked into the mirror, and they were given the special magical gifts, and off they went down the great river. And of course I cried when Frodo and Sam set off by themselves. I always cry at that part. And now I'm about to start book 3, which is the beginning of the Two Towers, and now I know what's coming is a certain character's death, where I always cry at this part. And I cannot be crying right now, okay? I have to teach in a little while. I can't be crying right now. I think I'm really gonna fly through book 3 because this is all Merry and Pippin and the Riders of Rohan and Treebeard, and I love this section of the story. So I'm hoping to just fly right through it. But the more likely thing that's going to happen is probably that I'll go very slowly through it because it's my favorite, and so I want to linger here, and you know, I want to read slowly and enjoy it and take lots of notes and everything. Book 4 is probably my least favorite part because it's just so dark and everything, and Gollum is just so nasty. But that part also has Faramir, who is one of my favorite characters from the whole series. So tomorrow's reading will be a mixed bag, I guess. I can't stand Gollum, but I do love Faramir, so we'll see. But today's reading is going to be wonderful. Okay, so I will be back maybe tonight, we'll see, to give you guys an update. So it is the afternoon of day 3. It's only a couple hours since I last talked to you, but I got plenty of reading done this morning, and then I taught, and then I read through my lunch break. I've just been eating like these frozen dinners, 5 minutes in the microwave, and I'm ready to go right back to reading because I don't have time to cook. That wastes time. I need to be reading. And then I started teaching again after my lunch break, but now a student has canceled, which means I have about 30 minutes to sit down and read some more. So we just met Treebeard, and I'm just like so happy. So this morning we met the Rohirrim, and now right during lunch then we met Treebeard, and so I am ready to dive back in with Merry and Pippin and Treebeard and all the fun stuff. It is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon on day 4, and it is Sunday, and I have not read a single word yet today. I went to church this morning and played piano, of course, at church, and enjoyed fellowshipping like with the choir and stuff like that. Ate a little bit of a snack when I got home because I was just like, I'm so hungry. And I'm about to drive over to my mom's house because she made minestrone. And today is a very cold, rainy day, and it is the perfect day for some yummy, warm minestrone. So last night I read until about 11 o'clock. I stopped reading still with 40 pages left to go in book 3. So I am a tiny bit behind. However, book 4 is a little bit shorter. Book 4, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, is only 133 pages. So I can make up that 40 pages that I didn't get read last night and hopefully still be able to read all of today's pages and be able to get back on track. So I read all through where we meet Theoden King, and I read all through the Battle of Helm's Deep. And I stopped reading right as they all ride up to Orthanc, and they see two little people sitting there with the spoils of battle, eating and smoking with a few well-earned comforts. So that made me laugh at last night and sent me off to sleep with kind of some joyfulness in my heart after all the darkness and the despair of the Helm's Deep battle. But I just could not stay awake past that. I was like, I have got to get some sleep and I need to be alert for church in the morning, because if the pianist is half asleep, that ain't good for anybody. So I'm gonna go over and get some yummy minestrone with my mom. I've already told her I'm gonna have to make it a short lunch this week because I've got stuff to do. And then I'm gonna be right back here reading some more. And I will update you guys maybe later today or possibly tomorrow morning with how my reading goes today. It is almost 7 o'clock on day 4. This is Sunday evening. I've been reading a little bit this afternoon, and I finally just now finished book 3, which I should have finished last night. Guys, I am falling so far behind. I mean, it's not even funny. I still have to read another 133 pages tonight. That's just not gonna happen. I'm really gonna try, and I'm gonna read quite a bit. But Sundays is just such a busy day and like a very social day. That's when I go to church. It's when I hang out with my family. I kind of catch up with my roommate and we make, whatever plans we need to make for the next week. Just one thing and another, and I don't know. However, tomorrow I should have hours and hours to read. I should have a good amount of time to read tomorrow. So I'm still gonna read for at least, I think, another 3 hours tonight. So it's 7 o'clock now. I'll read at least until 10 o'clock. Maybe if I really get going, and I'm really enjoying it, I might read until 11 if I can stay awake that long. Get up early in the morning, read for maybe at least an hour in the morning, and then I am going to a yoga class tomorrow. But then I have all the afternoon to read, and then I teach for about 3 hours, and then I have all the evening to read tomorrow. So, okay, we can do it. We just read. We're gonna do it. I'm so horribly behind now. I mean, not that it really matters if I am behind. If it takes me 6 days, or if it takes me 7 days, or if it takes me 10 days, or if it takes me 10 months to read this. Like, it's just a challenge that I've set for myself to be for fun, and I'm not gonna stress about it. So the parts that I've been reading today have been Merry and Pippin at Isengard, and of course everything is flooded, and then Gandalf and Legolas and Gimli and Aragorn have all come up to Isengard, and they had some very serious words with Saruman, and a mysterious black orb was thrown down, which Pippin picked up, and Pippin got himself into trouble. And now Shadowfax and Gandalf and Pippin are galloping across the plains of Rohan on their way to Minas Tirith. So all kinds of exciting things happening. And now I'm getting to all the parts with Frodo and Sam and Gollum. So good night. I am going to do some more reading, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so it is about 3 o'clock on day 5. This is Monday, and I have just been reading pretty much all day since I woke up, basically. I decided not to go to yoga this morning because last night I did not finish book 4. So I was like, you know what? We've just gotta pull through. And so I decided to just do about 30 minutes of gentle yoga at home. And then that gave me more time to read this morning. I finished book 4 around noon, I guess it was. And I just, without even skipping a beat, without even pausing, I dived right into book 5. So at the end of book 4, of course, Frodo and Sam are making their way into the borders of Mordor. And there is the nasty battle with Shelob, that you say it? Shelob? I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyway, I kind of skimmed that scene because I was just like, ew, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about all the grossness and the stench and all the nastiness. So I was like, no, thank you. But then I dove into book 5, and that is much more fun because Pippin and Gandalf are making their way to Minas Tirith, and we meet the Lord Denethor. And now I have started the next chapter in book 5, and then it follows Merry and Legolas and Gimli and Aragorn, and Merry swears fealty to King Theoden. So the stage is being set for the next upcoming battle against evil. I'm enjoying my reading a lot, but it's a lot, you know? Reading for 8+ hours a day is kind of starting to wear on me a little bit. Not that I'm enjoying the story or the books any less. I just find that my powers of concentration and my focus is starting to waver a little bit. I'm having to kind of wake myself up. Don't fall asleep, you know. A few times over the last couple of days, I've actually just jumped on the treadmill and just reading and taking little notes and walking around on the treadmill to keep myself awake. So that definitely helps to keep your brain sharp as you are reading. So now I have to teach for about 3.5 hours, and then I'll be back home and eat some dinner and just keep right on reading until I fall asleep tonight. I'm only about 1/4 of the way through book 5, so I still have a good ways to go tonight. It seems like I'm always just a little bit behind, and I catch up, but I'm still just a little bit behind. So I'm really hoping that today I can get totally caught up, and tomorrow, the last day, then I can just read that last day's reading and just make it through that finish line, you know. So tomorrow, the only thing that I have on my schedule is reading, and I will be teaching in the afternoon, but I've got nothing else on my plate tomorrow. So tonight and tomorrow is the last big push to get everything read. So wish me luck, and I'll see you guys later. Good morning. It is about 9:30 in the morning on the final day, day 6. This is it. We are right down to the end of this race. So I've done a little bit of reading so far this morning, and I just now finally finished yesterday's reading. I finished book 5 this morning. So last night I stayed up really late. I read until about midnight, and I still had like 20 pages left to go. And I was just like, I cannot stay awake any longer. And so I stopped a little bit short of my goal. So last night I got right up to the chapter of the Houses of Healing. After the Battle of Pelennor Fields, then Aragorn comes in with Athelas, and he heals Merry and Éowyn and Faramir in the Houses of Healing. And I got up early this morning and got some more reading done, read those final 20 pages, and now I just have to get today's reading done. So the final book of Return to the King, book 6, is only 133 pages. So I'm very hopeful that we can do this. I mean, I've gotten a little behind and then I've caught up, and then I've gotten a little behind and then I've caught up, but I've pretty much stayed on track all this time, and now we're right down to it. I'm sure I can finish by the end of today. So I have about 5 hours until I have to teach later this afternoon. So I'm just gonna read for 5 hours, hoping that I can do it, but I feel like my reading pace is still pretty slow because I'm taking so much time to write in little notes in the margins. And also, last night and a little bit this morning, my reading pace has been slow because I have to stop and cry. So when a certain character dies on the Pelennor Fields, I had to stop, and I had to get some tissues, and yeah, that part always gets me. I can't with these character deaths. It's just so moving and so inspiring and meaningful. It just gets me right here in my heart. And of course, you know, last night I was reading that scene and like it's night and I'm tired and I'm worn out. And so then I'm much more likely to just dissolve into weepy tears. But I'm feeling refreshed this morning and ready to dive back in. So I will be back maybe later on tonight, or maybe I'll just wait until tomorrow morning to give you guys the final report on how everything has gone. So I'll see you guys later to let you know the final results. Can I read all of Lord of the Rings in 6 days? Let's do it. Guys, I did it. I read all of the Lord of the Rings in its entirety in 6 days. I did it. I'm kind of proud of myself. So I finished reading the last page last night at 8:30 p.m. with hours to spare. I have to say, even as close as I was to the finish line, there were a couple of times during the afternoon as I was reading that I was like starting to lose my motivation to read. It's just been a lot. It's been wonderful, but it is kind of a lot when you're just sitting down and reading and reading and reading for so many hours every day. And then I got to the chapters where Frodo and Sam are hiking across Mordor, and it's just so dark and so gloomy. And all of a sudden I just kind of went, oh, do I have to read this? It was just so dark and gloomy, and they were so tired, and it made me tired. So I took a little break, went and got me a snack, and then I was like, okay, come on, you just got to push through these next 2 chapters. Just get through these 2 dark and gloomy chapters, and then it's about to get so good. Like, you know it's about to get so good. So I got through those 2 chapters and then flew through the rest of it because the ending is just so satisfying. And there are so many happy reunions, and there's 2 weddings, and it's just wonderful to see. I mean, some people say the ending is too drawn out, but I think it is perfect because I think it's not enough that they fulfilled their quest. You know, you have to see the aftermath of that and the grieving and the healing. You've got to see the results of all the character development that they have gone through. So, of course, I cried at the end because I always do. It's just so wonderful, though. It's so satisfying, and it's such a great ending. You know, that really just shows me like the genius of Tolkien, because it's not easy to bring a huge epic story like this to a really satisfying conclusion where all of those little threads come together, but Tolkien does it. That just shows the genius of Tolkien's writing. But now I have the worst book hangover in the world. I finished the book and then I was like, reality, now what do I do? But today is going to be my catch up with my life day. There's like 30-something emails that I need to respond to that have just been pushed to the side. I need to do some dishes and some laundry and just, you know, take care of the daily business of living because I haven't been doing any of that. I've just been reading for 6 days. This video is probably already super long, so I think I'm going to do a separate video actually giving you like my review of Lord of the Rings. So be on the lookout for that really soon. And thanks for sort of coming along with me on this wild journey. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know, when you read Lord of the Rings, do you read it really quickly? Do you find that you just fly through it? Or does it take you maybe a couple of months to get through? Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.